Okay, another Homegrown Fit full body workout, just body weight. We're going to be working through 3 movements for 3 sets, starting with a step back lunge with a long knee and a power lunge, pictured here. Next is a down dog plank or a pulling crawl, which is not shown here, to work on our pull strength. And then our core strength will be targeted with, or core stability will be targeted with these dead bugs or hollow dead bug exercises. And then at the end, we'll sneak in just a 2-minute mobility session so you can get a sneak peek at what that looks like. Okay, movement number 1 is a back lunge for 5 reps. Reach back long through that leg if you can, trying to keep the knees straight, and then pull yourself up out of the bottom of that lunge with that standing foot. After we do our back lunges 5 times, we're going to move to a lunge plus a skip. So same movement as you stretch back and then drive up and pull the knee, the moving knee, up, or pull the knee up and power off of that standing leg. So pull yourself through and power up off the floor. We'll do the same actions with our other leg. So step back and either keep the step a little shorter so you can tap the knee down or stretch it out. As you can see, I'm hinging a little bit forward through my whole upper body, not rounding through my back, but leaning in one chunk so I have a nice straight line through the crown of my head to my heel. Here comes our third lunge and skip. Last one. And next is a pulling exercise, and you have to really focus to make it a pulling exercise. It's difficult to do that without equipment, but we're going to do it. So get a nice high plank position, push the shoulder blades apart, tuck the tail, and then drive back to downward dog, and then pull yourself forward into that plank. You can even resist a little bit by bracing through your mid-body. So you've got to work hard engaging those lats under your armpits to get yourself into that high plank. And once you get there, squeeze your glutes and keep pushing the floor away and look down at the floor. Don't look forward. And we're almost there. See how I'm bending my knees in my downward dog too. You don't have to keep your knees straight. It's up to you. We're working on upper body here. Okay, third and final movement is a variation of the dead bug. We're going to start with just setting up the position really well. So check out my low back is now anchored to the floor, yes? My knees are over my hips. Get your knees over your hips. There you go. So they tend to float in, and if you need to keep your knees in to keep your low back on the floor, do that. But if you can float them right over your hips, do that. And then we're just tapping a heel, either with a bent knee or straightening the leg, as we try to lengthen through the back of the neck. Don't lift your chin. Push the back of the neck toward the floor, and also push through the palms of the hands toward the ceiling. That'll really help lock down your spine so you can move and brace while doing so. All right, round 1 is done. We're going to start round 2. Pay attention if you want to try some new version of the movement. I'm going to demonstrate right here. Instead of lunging back and stepping, you can lunge back and drive the knee if you want to work more hip flexor strength. Also, if you're having a wobbly time stepping back, check that you're lunging back on train tracks instead of tight ropes, which means don't step in line with that stabilizing leg. Step a little bit to the side. Then we drive up off the leading foot for 5 reps. And then switch sides. Step back, tap the knee or stretch out the knee, and then step together or drive the knee up. We have one more step back, and then we'll add the skip, or you can also blast off without leaving the ground by just doing a calf raise powerfully. So your heel lifts off the ground, but the ball of your foot remains. All right, downward dog to plank again, pulling yourself forward to your plank. Or you can try this pulling crawl. So from your forearms and your knees or your toes, obviously from your knees, you're going to help yourself a little bit more. You're going to reach forward with one arm and pull yourself forward while you help a little bit with the opposite foot. And I want you to do 10 steps instead of 10 downward dog to planks if you're working on this movement. keep practicing as long as I'm crawling, okay? Even if you've lost count. So there's the version with the knees off the ground. Okay, moving on. Dead bug position. We're going to just do a little hollow position with the upper body. So pushing the palms to the floor again, but this time getting as hollow as you can through the upper body. So tuck your low ribs and then tap. Then heel down. Staying anchored to the floor should feel a little bit more doable with your head and shoulder blades off the ground. If your head gets heavy, you're welcome to slip your fingertips right behind your ears and just give yourself a light support. Okay. Here comes the third and final set, starting with those step back lunges. I'm going to give you one more option to check out. It's a knees over toes back lunge. So the setup is the same. You're going to step back with a long knee, and this time pull yourself down into that lunge and let your standing knee drive forward over the toe. So you're doing a little knees over toes lunge without letting that heel pop off the ground and without letting the back knee bend and touch the floor. Keep it lifted. The back of the knee needs to lift toward the ceiling. Here comes our skips. And don't worry so much about your knees over toes position because you're not going to be able to get power out of the bottom as easily with that position. All right, try it on the other leg. If it felt good on the first leg. If you get any knee pain, then you're not ready for that yet. And we can talk about other options that you can practice to get that knee pain to go away. Because you should be able to get in this position pain-free. And here comes the skips. 5 times. Great work done with those. Let's do one more set of downward dog to plank or pull crawls from the forearms. There you go. And then just pick an arm and the other leg will know what to do. Pull yourself forward. Really focus on keeping your action through that shoulder. So you're pulling through the lats and not pushing through that trailing arm. Almost to 10. And we just fit it in. Okay, last round of dead bugs, hollow dead bugs. This time reach your arms past your hips. And again, knees floating over the hips. And tuck those low ribs in and get your lats off the ground and your shoulder blades off the ground. I guess you can't literally get your lats off the ground because they attach at your low back. And again, if you want a little bit of head support, you can just grasp right behind your ears and then pull your elbows forward so you don't chuck your chin in too far. All right, well done. Go ahead and twist your knees to the right. Open up into a T. And then maybe kick your left leg out or maybe keep it bent and then see if you can sneak your right leg under you and grasp it with your left hand. So this is called the bretzel. It's a very aggressive spinal twist. So if the original twist felt like it was plenty aggressive, then avoid advancing it. Now let's swing our knees to the left, tee your arms out and sneak that left hip under you or foot under you and see if you can grasp it with your right hand. And then hold on to your right knee with your left hand. And then see if you can get your right arm to come or shoulder to come back down to the floor. And just take a deep breath before you release it. And then roll on up and let your knees drop to one side and grasp the trailing ankle. Pull it in to your heel or to your butt so you're stretching that quad on that trailing side. And then go ahead and release it and move into a shin box. That means you're still in the same position, knees flopped one way, feet trailing, and then reach out toward that leading knee. Sit up real tall with your belly button reaching out over the thigh, and then imagine you've got a cup of coffee to reach for over there, out over your front thigh or your leading knee's thigh. And think about staying tall through the crown as you reach. Yeah, if you get cramps in that trailing hip, that's totally normal. Just your body trying to figure out what to do with this stress. And last reach, see if you can make it the biggest reach of all. And then let's flip our knees over the other way. Now you've got that other leg to stretch through the quad. Again, it's the trailing side, and just pull the heel up. Think about extending the hip forward so you get a nice stretch all the way down the front of the thigh. And then when you're ready to release, you can set up into a nice tall seated position. It's going to happen here. There we go. Same setup. So the leading foot is in contact with the trailing thigh, and then the trailing foot is just out there behind you. If you want to make it more challenging, you can pull your feet out into a wider position called a 90-90. So you have 90-degree angles in your knees and hips. But this shin box is usually plenty to start with if you've never tried this before. Rotate your belly button over that leading thigh. Reach for the cup of coffee or the cup of tea or your favorite, I don't know what. And stay long through the crown of your head once again. And let's do 2 more. If you need a little bit of support, you can tent your fingers and give yourself just a little bit of help out of the bottom. Okay, third and final stretch without rounding. That was my demonstration of rounding. Keep stretching through the crown of the head, reaching, reaching, reaching forward. See how far you can get, and then pull it back up. And that was the shin box stretch. Nice work. Nice work on your 3 sets. Do any more stretching on your own that feels good. Golf clap for all of us. Well done.